madness. This is this is this is
All right, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's having a fantastic day. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. We're going to take a look at silver, Bitcoin, USD, JPY, the dollar. We got all kinds of stuff to look at today. It's going to be exciting. We kind of have like very, very low liquidity situation in the crypto market right now. Not much volume. And literally, that's because everybody's trading gold and silver. Gold and silver bugs are happy that they are gold and silver bugs finally, as they're getting a nice little run. But my question is this the top? We were looking at this level yesterday before price got here. We were doing a live stream yesterday morning at 9:30 like we usually do. So price was trading right here at about $111. So basically, as the community, or as time went on, I was letting the community know to keep an eye on this level right here. We'll discuss that level in detail, so that way you can find levels like this for yourself in the future. But it does look like I was not the only trader out there that was watching that level. As you can see, you lost a significant amount of money from that level yesterday, as silver corrected some 13%. Damn. Yeah, that's why you don't want to be a buyer up here. This thing is so overbought. Literally, it's more overbought than it's kind of ever been. There's only one other time in history that I can find where you got to these levels of overboughtness. Bitcoin currently still holding the year open. Got pretty crazy yesterday here at the year open, and it bounced, and then we're back. So I mean, this is the level that the bulls need to defend if they have any hopes or any kind of like bullish rally. It needs to come from this place. You've already basically made a fresh yearly low. So right over here is the year open. You can see we made that fresh yearly low when we broke down here, and then another fresh lower low. So it's not looking great. This was a very small correction. We saw a pretty nice move on Sunday. Monday was a correction, and then today we're pulling back inside of Monday's range. So it is Tuesday morning. We do expect some fireworks. We probably will resolve this range, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. The current range is setting at 86,561 and 89,082. That's just simply going to be yesterday's open and Sunday's open. That's basically what you're trading inside of. You did not take out the high or low of that Sunday candle. So you're an inside day. You did take out yesterday's high. So to be fair, today you're not an inside day. You're trading inside yesterday's range, but of course that's after liquidating yesterday's high. So we'll see what happens here this morning when the bell opens. As far as long-term analysis goes on Bitcoin, here I can be bullish. I do not like what Bitcoin has done. I do not like how far it retraced off that weekly 21 exponential moving average up here. You also have the 50 exponential moving average up there. They're both kind of in the same spot. I wanted to see a higher low built in at support, at a prior support. December's open was that prior support. So when Bitcoin traded into December's open right here, this is where I wanted to see that higher low build in and then start to see it move higher. But you can see that is a breakdown, a legit breakdown, a retest of that support level that acted as resistance. So prior support became resistance, and now we're trading off of that. So I don't love the idea of trying to be a buyer here. However, if we do see gold and silver both pull back significantly, then maybe some of that liquidity flows into Bitcoin, as that's how billionaires do it. They liquidate when they're in profits on highs, and then they rotate that capital to other assets that they assume will ultimately have a run. And it's just a matter of time now, the way we feel about Bitcoin, it's just a matter of time now before it takes off to the upside. However, if it refuses to get going above this level, this little yellow line will be the line in the sand for me. It will literally separate bearish or bullish. So I am bearish here. I do have a short open, but the short is so low on the range, I couldn't get in on Friday as we got up there. I thought it was actually going to break out, so I didn't even want to put a short on there until we got up to like 92,488. So I missed that swing high, but I was able to catch it right in here. So obviously the short is just not performing. It's not doing anything. If Bitcoin breaks down, then the short will pay. But if it holds here, I want to be long. So this level is kind of important. And even though we did get a daily close below, we haven't taken out the high. So until you do that, this doesn't feel or even look like a bear trap. It looks like it's trying to break down in a legit way. I honestly believe that if you break down from here, you're going to see a larger move to the downside. You probably will get back down to November's low, which is right here. And then there's last April's low is down at 74. But we don't even want to think about that right now. Right now, we want to see Bitcoin hold here and take off to the upside. If we go look at Fartcoin, we can see that we are starting to find a little bit of support here. Fartcoin's intraday range is very, very tight. Let's pull it up here. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to move it around too much, as I can understand that it can be very hard to watch on a cellular phone. But anyway, this is important. Like you opened the brand new day, you liquidated the prior day high, and since then you've just been rolling down or rolling over. You got a huge point of control down here. So this is where the sellers have been trying to short Fartcoin all morning from right here. And they had the deltas with them. This is the delta volume or cumulative volume delta. It just literally means that when it's below neutral, the sellers are more aggressive than the buyers. When it's above neutral, vice versa. So the sellers have been more aggressive on Fartcoin this morning. So maybe it's just wanting to get one final initial pop or something like that into 930. Then we'll see if it finds resistance and rolls over. If it breaks out and starts to move to the upside, all of these shorts are going to get stopped out. And that could propel a nice move to the upside today. So kind of have more of a neutral bias today. Got two positions open on Bitcoin, one short, one long. Long from just above the yearly open, as it has not retested the yearly open yet today. As you can see, it got really, really close down there this morning, but just could not get down there. I mean, it literally, this candle just sat on the lows what seemed like for an eternity before it started to kind of migrate back off the level. So you haven't gotten a retest of it yet. I assumed we would at the New York Open. And we're 15 minutes away from that New York Open. And I honestly don't believe you're going to see a big move on silver before then, but I could be wrong as it's happening now. This level that I was talking about, it's just the extension from last month's range. So if you use a fib tool or a fib extension tool, not the retracement tool, the extension, just go from last month's low to last month's high and then pull it down into this month's low. And that gives you your projected fib targets or your extension. So the first place that we were watching for resistance was here at the 786 extension. You can see that other people were looking at this area too, as this level literally you fought here for like 6 days, 7 days ultimately, before it traded up and started squeezing the shorts. And once you started squeezing those shorts, it was see you later, alligator. But it completely just blasted through all of this empty space here, went straight up to the 1.618. That literally means that you're looking at 1.5 times of a bigger move than what you got last month. And last month you were already over freaking sold. You were already in 90 on the RSI. Like, you don't ever want to buy a high time frame 90 plus print ever. I don't care what the asset is, and I don't care how bullish you think it is or how bullish you think it continue or will continue to be. That is not the smart way to do this. You want to buy lows, not highs. But anyways, it's pulling back aggressively. Like I said, it went up there. It only closed 1 hourly candle above that level. Put in a very shallow swing high, taking out the prior high, and puked 13% of its overall value. That's a huge retracement. It's not a blow off by any stretch of the imagination. Though we could see a blow off, we will see. Unfortunately, it's already making a move here. I was wanting to get in on maybe some SLV puts or something, put on a put spread. We'll see what happens at the open. I'm not trading the futures, but yeah, if I can get a put spread off on, like, I don't know, a 10-day expiry or something like that. It's just looking for like a day trade. If it is going to roll over hard and blow off, I'd like to catch it. So I've been patient as I can be. I didn't get the trade off yesterday. That would have been the best place to put the trade on. Obviously, I was away from the office when that happened. So no big deal. If I miss it, I miss it. It is what it is. I've got so many other assets to trade. But here, if we pull this out to the monthly chart, you can see what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and drop the deltas and pull up the RSI. I mean, bro, you're printing a 94.55 on the monthly RSI. I've never seen anything get higher than that on a monthly. Like, I've never seen a 100 print on any asset ever. And I've been doing this for, I don't know, 15 years now, a little more than 15 years. I've never seen it happen. Though the last time silver got this overbought on the RSI was back in 1980. 79. It was actually January. Let's make sure, January of 1980, when you hit that overbought level, and then you dumped. You went from $48 an ounce in 3 months down to $10 an ounce. I'm not expecting anything like that to happen this time, but I am expecting a correction at some point. Whether it's this month or next month, I am anticipating a correction, and that correction could be extremely volatile. So be careful if you're trading this. Make sure you know and understand fully the risks associated when using leverage and all that good stuff. Like, especially when something is this crazy, absolutely insanity out there. You've got legitimate gold and silver dealers not being able to accommodate large purchases because they're literally running out of silver. This is the peak of FOMO. This is. So, yeah, I've seen some pretty large short positions starting to hit yesterday and today. A lot of people are assuming this run is over. And I'm in the camp that, I mean, I don't know that it is, obviously, but as long as it is trading under 116 spot 47, I am more than okay with putting on a short trade on it. I know how to trade, so obviously I'm not going to get that badly destroyed if I'm wrong. I will lose a very small portion of my account, but we'll see if we can get the order off. That's the thing. It's so volatile. The moves are so vicious right now. We might not be able to even get a put option trade to get filled unless we ask an insane price for them. As of right now, the market is closed, so we're not going to have accurate readings on the options contracts. But I've got a 31-day SLV contract pulled up here, expiry, and you can see that the spreads are massive. I anticipate this will get worse on the open. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully everybody, like I said, is having a fantastic week. fantastic morning. Let me know in the chat if you were in on that silver short last night or yesterday evening. It happened at 1 o'clock, sorry, 1 o'clock. But right after the lunch break, it dumped. And as you can see today, we are currently putting in a lower high. However, that can change at the bell. This thing could literally take right back off to the upside, as deep corrections like this can get bought into. It's just like people are assuming this is overstretched to the upside. You also have those people on the opposite position of that, thinking that move was way too aggressive, so they try to buy into that. Let's go take a look at USD/JPY real quick, as it is currently pushing below Friday's low. I actually thought that if it did just a slight liquidation under here, and if it failed to push lower once we get the bell, we may be able to take a long here and look for, at a bare minimum, a run back up above today's high. That's a pretty large range. This is overbought. You're looking at a 1% move on Forex. That's a massive move. That's 156 pips. We usually look for a 25, 30 pip move when we're scalping Forex, right? You're looking at 156 pips. So it's pretty extended. You tagged the oversold on the daily. If you drop down into the 4 hour, you're going to see that you're still blood red down here. So I'm sorry, my cat just came in here and made a mess and then hauled ass and left me with it. Thank you. Anyways, yeah, I don't necessarily want to be a buyer on this. Obviously, with it looking like this, with the rumor mill out there, we do know that the Fed did tap the liquidity, or at least got quotes for tapping liquidity. So that's why you've seen a massive sell-off on Friday. They have not done any direct intervention yet. The Fed nor the BOJ has done any kind of direct intervention. This is just, I would assume, people putting positions on in anticipation of that happening in the future. All right. I mean, if this only happened one time before, where the Fed was literally going to try to bail it out. So we'll see what happens, but obviously that will not be good for the dollar. The dollar is trading right now at 96.58, the DXY basket. There is a huge level at 96.21. That is September's low. We broke down below the June low back in September. Here, I'll pull it up for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So here in September, we broke down below the July low. This was the range that we were trading in back here. So we took a short on USD/JPY. We anticipated that this was going to break down and continue. Once it liquidated that low, it ran right back up to the top of the range, taking out August's high. The August high has pretty much marked this range on the DXY since May of 2025. You've done nothing on this asset but trade range bound. So this is serious. You set that high in, you go down, you liquidate the low, you come back up, you liquidate the high, and then the downtrend let loose. We had a bearish bias on the dollar as long as it was trading under December's open. And as you can see, in the month of January, that was the short trade to put on. We did put that short on. So now we're getting a nice downside continuation move. We have taken out October's open. That was the near-term support, as it held as support in December. So breaking down through here and setting that roughly around the midpoint of this monthly range expansion means this could literally be a legit breakdown. Now we must do that here. If we do this here, since you've been so compressed in this tight range for so long, you could literally see a couple monthly candles like this under there. I don't know that's going to happen. Obviously, this green trend line here goes all the way back to 2011. So this is a massive key level to break down through. So you could see a gigantic retracement repricing lower. And that's what we're ready for. That's what we're targeting. That's what we were looking for when we put the trade on at the December open. So that's what we got going on with the DXY. And that's caused some real good trading opportunities. As you can see here, got a nice short on USD Swiss franc. That breakdown is already occurring. There is the September low. You've already broken down once again, midpoint. That's a good look. This is what I look for when I'm in a trade for a long term. When I build in a position like this to where I anticipate making my entire year off of one trade, this is what I try to do. This is how I get positioned. So anyway, as you can see there, we also nailed that December open retest on the DXY on the euro. We bought the euro USD. I don't have that position opened on this exchange or on this broker, but you can see right here, this wick low right there, boom. That was the long. That's where we put the long on. We put it on Sunday. Sunday right here. When it broke down through December's low, that's when we said buy. And here we are on euro. I'm no longer in the euro trade. I exited the euro trade over in here. I actually did not anticipate it continuing that aggressively. I thought we would see a little bit. I thought it would take a little bit longer, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. USD JPY position. I put a position on the small account here this morning at 4 hour res. Here, I'll show you that, what I was looking at when I took the position. So this red line here marks the entry. You can see what I was looking at when I took the entry. We traded up. We took out this high. I was looking for it to continue up to here. It didn't. So since it fell back down and turned red, I went ahead and hit the sell button. That was early this morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning when I put this trade on. So it broke down through there. I honestly anticipated this getting stopped out, but something happened right when I fired that short trade off, like almost instantaneously. Boom. So that also tells me I wasn't the only one looking at that. I mean, no sooner than I got the trade on, it literally repriced down to Friday's low. So this is where I'm skeptical for downside continuation. There is a big time frame level down here. Excuse me. You have November's low down here at 152.82. So that could be the next liquidation point. So it could trade down there today. It just, I mean, it's so oversold on the 4 hour. It feels as if, though, to me, this thing should retrace some of this a little bit. But hey, that's how it works, right? When everybody is on the, when things start to tear apart, like we're seeing right now, sometimes you don't get much of an opportunity. And if you look at this on the 4 hour, I mean, this, like I said, I anticipated a run up to 155.69. It didn't happen. This was literally the only opportunity that the market gave anybody for an entry at all. I mean, nobody was in on this unless they caught the short on Friday. We were looking at the short on Friday. We didn't take it because it was Friday. The week was over. All right. We were not anticipating a large move. But that's when the Fed tapped that liquidity, and that's what caused that big breakdown. So this was one opportunity, and then this is the second, and that is it. There's been no other chances to get in on this. Not really, not unless you just randomly started throwing orders out. But that ain't how we do things here. So we had to wait. Now, if you liquidate this low, the current day low, and continue to push, then you don't want to be a buyer. You don't want to try to step in front of that. Obviously, the momentum is clearly to the downside here. However, if you can't take that out or continue to push beyond that, you could potentially look for a long and target at least where my stop is, right? You could put a take profit up there. Make sure you know what you stand to lose if you take it, because you're clearly buying an asset that is falling. So you're trying to catch a falling knife here. Be careful. All right, so Bitcoin did take out the prior 4-hour swing low. That's good. Now what we want to see for upside continuation or upside expansion is Bitcoin hold 87,851. Here, let me mark that level off. That way we can watch it on the small time frame so you can see just how it works. Shoot. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So yeah, 87,861. If the buyers are here and legit, if they've been absorbing up the sell side orders at the January open, then we don't want to see price breakdown through here. We want those buyers to step up at a higher price and defend this level. Fartcoin did actually smoke all those early 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. shorts. And as you can see, you really aren't changing the bearish structure on the deltas, so that's kind of concerning. We want to see something similar here. You're actually trading at the level we want to see held on Fartcoin right now. So this is as low as we want to see it go. Let's get rid of this fib, as it's absolutely pointless. So you can see this is where we want to see Fartcoin hold. If Fartcoin holds here, then longs from down here are going to work out, and they're going to work out good. And then Bonk and Pigu are going to do the same thing. The reason that I'm looking for bullish price action is if you look at Zcash yesterday, I had a massive push. This is more than just a move up to just short into, right? We would not have anticipated it getting above Sunday's high if it was going to roll back over. But not only did it do that, you're seeing upside continuation right here, right now. So I almost guarantee this thing's going to take out the day high and then potentially keep moving. If you look over here on Hype, this is another one we were watching. You broke out above the prior week's high. That week is now the midpoint of this candle. So this candle closes way up here. That's going to look bullish, not bearish. Hype is another exchange. So you went from being bearish down here yesterday to boom, boom. This is why I have a bullish bias on Bitcoin. Now those things, sorry, I was getting a drink of water. Now those things can just be squeezing shorts, right? That doesn't mean that we're going to see a bullish move on Bitcoin. Alts do their own thing sometimes. But yeah, we want to see that continue, and if that continues, then I would anticipate Bitcoin also moving up. But if you are looking for shorts on Zcash, because this if I am mistaken, it didn't quite get to overbought, but it almost did. You could watch the high day. If you're pushing above the high day, you might want to leave it alone at that point. I'm not sure if that weekly 20 or that daily 21 line is correct or not. It is kind of. So maybe wait and see what happens if it pushes up into this. The trade won't be right here. The trade would be here or at today's high. So if you're trading above any point today, if you're trading above 381, what is that? 385, sorry, 386.34. If you're trading above that price today, you're not looking for a short until tomorrow. If you get above that and fail to go higher, then you can put the short on. Right? Because they could just be running shorts. Now that they've done that for 2 days, maybe it does want to roll back over. I don't know what it's going to do, right? I am just trying to teach you how to line these trades up. That is all. I can't predict price. Nobody can. And I can show you where to put positions on. As long as you know how to mitigate risk, you would be successful. Yeah, Bitcoin still looks bearish on the 4-hour. Very much so. If we pull up the 4-hour, look at the RSI, you're going to see that you tagged the 50 and rejected. So bears are going to be on this as long as it's under 88,296. I would be too. In fact, I would have been putting on a position here for the short today if this level wasn't here. This is the only reason I have a bullish bias on Bitcoin right now. Literally this yellow line. If that's not there, like if it's up here or way down lower, I'm shorting this today. Like, that's just the way I feel about it. It looks terrible. It's weak. It can't get anything going. But right there is going to be support on the day. And you're currently trying to break it right now. So Farcoin just got super volatile. So it just broke down through there. It's coming down here to take out the day low. So Bitcoin may roll over here. Bitcoin has not tested the year open today. I wouldn't like a buy. I want to see it hold here if it's going to be bullish. I don't want to see it come all the way back down here. But it can. Yesterday it did all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't want to miss that Zcash short if it is a short. Let me pull it up. I don't know that it is a short. I would rather wait to see like some kind of rejection candle and then try to short the lower high. At least then I will know it's done. Or at least acting like it's done. Let's go back over to silver real quick as it is pulling back off of those lows. I mean, you can watch the 5-minute if you want, but you really can't see what's going on. You can't identify any key levels unless you have them already identified, right? So clearly you want to see silver making higher lows if you have a bullish bias. And right now you do kind of have that. So basically what I would need in order to put that short on is a rejection at the day high, the current day high. I don't think you need to go liquidate this stuff up here. So if price is pushing above this, then I wouldn't even attempt to put a short on unless it goes back up to here and then rejects. I wouldn't like that. If the sellers have it, if they're already in control of price, there's no point or no need for it to go any higher than this price here. So you probably aren't even going to go back up there. That's a pretty nasty hourly candle. You've broken down the trend, whatever trend you had. Very parabolic. I mean, you smashed through that, so yeah. I might be willing. Let me see what these... Oh, those puts actually tightened up on the open. That's cool. The spreads tightened up good. So yeah, they're only 15 cents wide 31 days out. So if I was to put this trade on, it would be a spread. You're paying an exorbitant amount of premium right now for this. This usually trades for way less than this. On average, when silver is not volatile, you can buy this same strike for $1.50. So you're paying a lot more premium because the IV is jacked up, way up. So the only way you could trade this would be to put on a spread. And even then, I don't know if you would be able to make any money. You would need a sizable move. Let's see. SLV is currently trading at 99 bucks. Let's go pull up the SLV chart real fast and see if we can identify any objective levels. I mean, we probably won't be, right? Because you're at all-time highs. I mean, this thing's been overbought for so freaking long. Look at this, 94.49 on the month. Insane. So it looks like it got up to 107. Let's put on the same fib extension tool. That'll give us a little bit more of something to gauge or at least look at here. So on silver or SLV, you actually hit 2 standard deviations above that. Like, this thing looks done. It's not going to be much longer. Yeah, I don't really see anything on here. Let me try this. Well, I really don't care about a retracement tool on the day. It would have to be on the week. The week's gapping up. So, I mean, right now you're currently testing the open. So that's a good objective level. Yeah, if it starts failing to close like 30-minute candles back above the weekly open, I'm gonna fire that short off on the put side. Probably do. Let me see what it looks like if I get down into 96. 31 days out here. Make sure you're watching. So 31 days out, like 96. Trust me, if this thing blows off, it can hit 96 in a single day. And then to give us some premium, we would want to sell, like, I don't know, say the 90. What would that do? Yeah, it's still less than a 1-to-1 risk to reward. That's how you know the premiums are jacked up. They are cranked up to 120 million. Yeah, I would put on something like that. $6 wide spread. That means you can make 292 if you're right. Obviously, you'll lose 308 if you're wrong. 31 days out. So that gives you time. If you are trying to scalp like 1-day options, let's go take a look at those. I know some people will. Yeah, I mean, same scenario. You're going to need a large move in your direction to make money. But I mean, if you're willing to risk $385, you could literally buy just one contract. It's going to expire tomorrow. There's only one day that it could be today, actually. Now, if it was today, it'd be a 0 day. It's tomorrow. Yeah, you'll expire tomorrow at the market close. So by the time the market closes tomorrow, you need silver SLV to be under $100 to make any money. And then even you might not make any money because all of this premium is going to be extracted via theta decay. So you could literally, if it just chops at 100, you're going to lose all that money. You might be able to get 80 cents back for it tomorrow if you're lucky. You would need a severe drop. You would need a nasty move lower in order to make money on this. I think your better chances of giving yourself like a month out and risking the same $300. That's what I would do if it was me, but 96 is where, yeah, so here's what I'm looking at on the chart. I don't want to buy the put way down here because that's the low of the range. Now it's not going to be on the daily time frame, but that's your low right there. So I want it to be inside of there, at least the first in the money strike. The first in the money strike, maybe you do a 97 and then sell the 90. Not right now, but give it, you got to give this time. You got 14 minutes. So you need to see that bearish reaction starting to happen at some point, right? Otherwise, there's no point in putting it on. So this is where we want to see it reject. We don't want to see candles closing above this price. Good morning, champ. Let's get it. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, boss. Please, can you look at XRP? Yeah, we'll look at XRP in just a moment. I mean, I guess I could look at it real quick. So right here on USD JPY, you can see this rejection here. This might be a long. So let's go ahead and fire that long off. Just cause, right? Just cause. We're not looking for a long-term long here. We're just looking at a rejection below the current day low. So we can buy it and put a stop down here. Very tight, very easy trade to put on. Since it's very volatile, we're going to crank that risk down. We'll do, it's super wide, so we'll do 35 pips today instead of 25. And we're not even going to do a half, we're just going to do a 0.5% because it's so volatile. We're just going to buy it here like that. And if we're right, we'll hit there. If we're wrong, we'll get stopped out and we'll lose less than 0.5%. So XRP is probably going to do whatever Bitcoin does, right? If Bitcoin holds support, XRP might as well. You're trading as an inside day here on XRP. You're inside yesterday's range and you're right smack in the middle of the range. There really isn't a good trade to put on here, right? So basically you're going to be watching the current day's low. If price fails to move below that, you would be looking for longs. Stop right here, because if you're below this, your yesterday's low becomes the next obvious place for price to go, right? So you want to see this hold. So Bitcoin's right back down to the yearly open. So this would be the opportunity to put longs on if you want to be a buyer at the yearly open. We want to keep an eye on SLV. This is a rejection. It's not closed yet. There's 11 minutes left on this close. And you did close a 5-minute candle above it. So now what you need to see is this candle's got to close under that low. Because if it stops going lower than this, it's probably going higher. So we don't want to put it on just yet. Obviously, we don't want to miss it, but it's super volatile, right? If it's going to break down, it's going to be a big, big move. It is so pimped up. There's so much stuff happening on this right now. So there's your retest of the yearly opening range. It's not quite there, but I mean, it's close enough, right? The last place for Bitcoin bulls, for me. Obviously, price is going to do what price is going to do. Good morning. Okay, we looked at XRP. DXY, very weak. Are we going to see BTC run soon? You would think. It makes sense. But like I said, the DXY is currently into a massive support. Massive support. Keeping an eye open. So there it goes. It's starting to take off. I don't know if we can get filled on it now. Let's see. Here, I gotta redo it. All right, so it filled. And oh, sorry. Zcash still holding. So those Bitcoin bulls, 87,630. Can't do it, huh? You gotta hold it. You lose this, it's all over but the crying. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, so silver is starting to drop. Or SLV tracks silver futures. So pretty much the same thing. I wouldn't be looking at any of these like this for support or anything like that. We just wanted to see where people might potentially come in on that sell. And they did. So if we can get under yesterday's low on SLV, then I think we fill that gap. So we would need to fill that gap and take out this low for that 30-day option to pay. Well, it would be in profit in here, but to get max gain or max profit, you would need it down into 86-ish. So right here is going to be the crucial support that silver bulls are going to have to hold today. You can see where it is. It's literally right here. So that's where they need to hold it. 96.51. They lose that, they could see a sizable breakdown. It's not the day low is actually there, but this pre-market data don't show up on a daily chart. So this is the key level. We also need our resistance level back up there. What was that resistance level? Do you remember? Was it yesterday's open? Looks like it was. Okay. Yeah, if we start closing candles back up into here, we're going to be wrong on that trade. Maybe, right? But I'll hold it up to 102.65. If it keeps going, then I'm out. So this would be kind of like my stop. I wouldn't try to get out on it if it gets up there. I would let it see if it's just liquidating that pre-market stuff. Remember, that's your SLV futures data. Remember that. So that swing high is today's high on the futures chart. Oh, I'll do the XAG. And that's your swing high up there. So that's as high as it needs to go. Big shorts today. I saw some big shorts. One guy put on a $38 million position for a short with 20x leverage. So he believes it's done. He could be wrong, though. Only time will tell. Bitcoin trying to hold the yearly opening range. It's the last place to get long. Yesterday, you can see how crazy it was. We did buy it yesterday, but ended up getting stopped out. And then I was so mad that I took the stop that I didn't try to buy it again yesterday. So yesterday when I looked back up on the chart and seen that it was heading back to the day high, I was so mad. I was so emotional and butthurt. Like I was absolutely yelling, this piece of shit better not go without me. That kind of stuff. I kind of had a feeling that we would get another opportunity at it though, because of the way it went right back down there again and bounced. And then today we come in here very weak. It's like, come on. It feels like it wants to break down, not up. So it's a scary buy. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. All right, so we're already in the money here on SLV. Our long put is in the money. It was a few strikes under the money when we bought it. Now it's in the money. So you can see how volatile this is. Usually SLV moves like $1.50 all day. This thing is moving, that's 99.40. It's down at 96.97. That's a $4 move. Absolutely insane. That is 3 times bigger than you would get in a normal day on SLV. Insanity. Absolute bonkers. Yeah, here's the day down here. It looks like you opened the day up right around 44.90. You traded up to 45.96, $1.50. That's a normal day for this. This thing's already moved 4. Come on. Volatility, baby. Is Fartcoin breaking down? It looks like it is. Oh yeah, Fartcoin looks like Fartcoin isn't looking good. But to be honest with you, I mean, buyers could show up as low as that, but I wouldn't love to be a buyer down there. If I was trying to be long Fartcoin, it would be because it's refusing to break down, even though it's been trading under the weekly VWAP for so long. So like this thing's been retesting that VWAP for 2 days. Now, obviously, the VWAP is only 2 days old, so we'll know today what it wants to do. If it wants to roll over, it'll start rolling over. If it still refuses to roll over an hour from now, that's a buying opportunity. Because you got an iceberg order sitting under here, absorbing all that sell-side pressure. It doesn't always work out like that, but I mean, the fact that you put in a fresh day low and then instead of continuing, it's choppy, right? It's very choppy. Hasn't really gone anywhere, though. Yeah, today is so tight. Very small range. Very small range. We're just 1 strike in the money on SLV, so it's on the day low, but it's struggling to break down. But you do have a lower low, because that's yesterday's low right there, so that's important. You do have a lower low. So as of right now, lower low, lower high, but will it remain like that? Some people think not. I've seen some really crazy posts on the interwebs. People talking $400, $500 silver by next week and stuff. Usually that's when it's done. You know what I mean? Usually when you have people coming out making such insane predictions like that, you need to be taking profits. It is almost cooked. What is USD yen doing? So USD yen struggling to get anything going. DXY is still pushing on the day low. So this is going to get stopped out. Not this one, the long that we took on the other broker. Our stop is right under that wick. So if it breaks down, we'll get stopped. The only reason I bought it is because it's so oversold. That's it. It's literally it. And Bitcoin is struggling here. I don't like this look, Bitcoin. Dollar weakness while risk bleeds is not a good correlation. Is risk bleeding? Risk isn't bleeding. It's only Bitcoin. Risk is not bleeding. Right here is your S&P 500 futures. Up here's your cash market. You're literally about to make fresh all-time highs. Yeah, it's not good that Bitcoin is bleeding while risk is so bullish. I'll give you that. Yeah, I honestly believe this isn't the 4-year market cycle theory playing out on Bitcoin. It has most likely more to do with the internal fighting that's going on between the core devs and other Bitcoiners. I think that is bringing a lot of uncertainty to the table, and that uncertainty is what we're seeing inside of Bitcoin right now. You take that uncertainty away, that BIP 110 soft fork, you get that out of the discussion, Bitcoin's probably already back to all-time highs. You take that BIP 110 discussion out, Bitcoin doesn't drop 35%, if you get what I'm saying. Because there wasn't anything on the macro that suggested other than the 4-year market cycle. But the 4-year market cycle it's certain. It's going, you know what I mean? Every 4 years Bitcoin halves. That's a certainty. It's built into the protocol. So we know investors know all about 4-year cycle models is what I'm trying to say. It's the uncertainty that's causing these markets to act this way. And that BIP 110 is a huge uncertainty. In fact, I put a video about it the other day out on Saturday, and not even an hour after I put that video out, Michael Saylor made a public post on X about it. So obviously he's aware, and he literally said that is the worst risk to Bitcoin right now. He didn't say shit about the 4-year cycle, right? Most of your pros aren't really talking 4-year cycle. It's just people that have bearish positions on Bitcoin hoping that it plays out. So they are right. The bears that shorted based on 4-year cycle model, they're right. They've been right since October. So it's hard to say that that ain't what's happening. I just think there's more to it than that. Because right now, Bitcoin should be mooning. Everything, the macro is situated real good for Bitcoin to rock and roll, especially if the Fed props up the yen. I mean, think about what I just said there. The Fed, the US Fed, propping up the Japanese yen. That's inflationary. So Bitcoin should do good. Maybe not while inflation is skyrocketing, but before inflation skyrockets, Bitcoin should reprice up, not down. So I think it's that uncertainty between that internal civil war. And that's happening, by the way, in September of this year, that soft fork. I don't think it can be stopped at this point. The guy that I referred to people to look at in the video, like if you want to know more about what's going on with the Bitcoin soft fork, you can go here to this guy and he will tell you everything you need to know as far as like what it is, how it works, all the technical aspects to it. I'll put it in the chat and I'll also put it in the description of this video. But yeah, give him a follow. He's not a trader or anything, so you're not going to get no kind of technical analysis or anything like that. He's a Bitcoin maximalist that is like a software engineer or something, right? So he understands all of that stuff. I'm a price action analyst. That's what I do. I analyze price and I make my trading decisions based on what price is doing. Occasionally I will factor in macro analysis, but I'm not a macro analyst. So my macro analysis is, I just take it with a grain of salt, to be honest. I am not a macro guy. I believe price is king. It's the arbiter of who is right and who is wrong. If you are short Bitcoin right here, then obviously you want price to go lower. If price goes up, you lose, you're wrong. That's how it works. And that's why I think price is king. It tells you everything you need to know to be a successful trader. Absolutely everything. Objective analysis is the best edge that I have found, and I've looked at literally everything out there. I've tried everything. When I was first trying to learn every kind of strategy that's on the internet, I tried. They all failed. It wasn't until I started taking an objective approach to what price was doing, then I could make rational decisions on where to put those trades. Instead of just this indicator crossed with that indicator, therefore go buy. Like, no, that doesn't work. That hasn't worked for 50 years. But this is what I'm talking about, this kind of price action. Bitcoin's literally been trading at the year open range since 940. It's 10:07, so we've literally been doing it for 25 minutes now. It's bonkers. It's bananas. Yesterday it did it for hours. Insanity. It's a big level. It determines whether or not Bitcoin is bullish on the year or bearish on the year. So this level forces people to make decisions. This is the first retest of the year open since the year opened. That typically is a bullish signal, not a bearish signal. I'll show you here real quick. I made a post about it the other day on Twitter or X. Right here. Historically, when price holds the year open as support early in the year, it usually outperforms. And you can look at that, you can back test that yourself. You do not need to take my word for it. You can simply go back, look at the year open every single year, and look at how it worked, what price did after. So it's a huge, huge level. If we lose it, we keep the short open. If we hold it, we want to be buyers. It's that simple. But we may experience a few days of chop here, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. If you're trading with leverage, your stops are going to be tight. You're probably going to eat a stop or two trying to get positioned. But here's the good part. Even if you miss the long at the year open, you can catch the long tomorrow or the next day or the day after. You're going to get more than just one opportunity to get in on a long position on Bitcoin. If you have a sell side bias, like if you're listening to me and you're a seller, right? You're like, what is this stupid guy even talking about buying Bitcoin? Silver is the new Bitcoin. Like if you're one of those people and you're short, well, you should already be short first and foremost. You should have been short at up here. That is if you weren't short where we started shorting. We started shorting up here, right? So, yeah, you should already be short. And this is a good look for you if you are short. It really is. The one thing, I don't love the close, but, it's a lower close. That's a lower weekly close. That's it. The fact that Bitcoin isn't like just going up right now tells me that it's weak. Farcoin today, earlier this morning, was trading like a very low liquid asset, and Farcoin is not a low liquid asset. So look at these candles right in here. You can you can even see it easier on the 1 minute. So like, look at these candles. See how they look like all jagged and stuff? That's because there's like literally no liquidity here. See this right here? These ticks? Zero liquidity. That's not normal on an asset like Farcoin. So I don't know if that's because the sentiment is so negative right now on crypto, or if it's, the uncertainty between the Bitcoin with that, BIP 110 soft fork. if that's what's causing the concern. But we can see that the markets are extremely concerned with Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is bouncing a little bit. Now it's starting to go. Like I said, these things are acting like you should be bullish, not bearish right now. But we'll see what happens. USD yen's pushing down. It's trying to go stop out that first or that secondary position we put on. This is a good look on silver. We want to see this continue. Any bounces back above 99.37, and then obviously short positions will be threatened. If it takes off to the downside here, and I don't know if it will because the dollar is so weak. See, that's what's kind of been helping silver. The DXY. Silver's traded against the dollar. So if the dollar is extremely weak, then silver doesn't have to be that strong in order to go up. So we're trying to short silver on a day when the DXY is super weak. It's not the best trade setup. You would want to short silver on a day when the DXY was strong. That means you would most likely get the downside break and the continuation move. But yeah, I mean, the dollar is right now, this is a weekly chart. It's pushing down on the lows. It's headed there. It's a nasty move lower on the dollar today. There's your Friday candle. You're almost that big. Oh, nasty. That's going to make the yen trade or the yen long opportunities or long traders get stopped out. But yeah, risk markets look good for Bitcoin. I mean, it broke out to the upside. We had a bullish bias coming into the week this week on S&P, because what it did on Thursday and Friday of last week was extremely bullish. Extremely. So we kind of felt like this is what was going to happen coming into this week. VIX is dropping, and that's what we want to see. So Bitcoin should be good here, but only time will tell. No pants, says Wes. Of course not. We never have pants on. I agree with you, Lunar Eternity. Or Entity, sorry, Lunar Entity. The crypto people pivoted to silver and suddenly we have a top. Yeah. Yep. I saw a random post today by somebody who didn't have any big followers or anything like that. He just said, you know how I know the silver market has stopped? Because I bought it yesterday. Oh, man, I feel sorry for anybody that happened to. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, hopefully. Like, hopefully you didn't lose everything. But if you've been paying attention to my channel for any amount of time, you would know you don't want to be a buyer on anything over 90 on the RSI. That's especially if it's a monthly or even a weekly time frame. You are so overcooked at that point. Like, think about it. Like, you hit overbought so many times on the daily chart at that point that you've been hitting overbought on the daily chart for almost a year. At some point, it's got to pull back. Wait for that pullback if you must buy it. Then get involved. But yeah, DXY is looking like it is headed firmly down to 96.21. So are we seeing yen weakness again today? I'm just curious. Give me 1 second. Yields are up again. Oh, they're not really up. I mean, they're still way up, but let's look at currency futures. Yeah, the yen is strong today. So I don't understand it. Dollar's weak, yen is strong. The USD JPY should, well, look at the Swiss franc go. Bro, it's the biggest mover on the day. Look at this thing go. This is like legit risk off sentiment. When you have both the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen futures doing this is like a real heavy risk off sentiment. But asset prices are going to go up because of inflation. But yeah, that typically isn't a good sign. It isn't a sign that you want to be long risky assets. So yeah, at some point this is going to pull back, and the pullback will be brutal and vicious. Your November low is right here. The next liquidation point is way lower. So it's because October was such a huge bullish month for this asset class. So once you smoke this area of liquidity, you don't really have anything else until you get all the way down here to 146. So I'm not anticipating that this thing is going to break down through here and just automatically reprice down to there. It will take a long time to get there, if it gets there. Now you do have weekly lows that can be liquidated. Every swing low, every single one has liquidity under it, whether it's a daily low, weekly, or monthly. But the monthly lows are where those big pools of liquidity sits. If this was paper, I'd be taking profits already. What do you mean, on silver? Yeah, take profits already. As far as silver, I only have physical, and honestly, dealers are trying to rip people off. Yes, they will. When everything gets volatile like this, it's not good. It's not good for the silver seller. It's good for the silver buyer, because he'll try to rob you. He'll pay you. Like, I have a really good gold and silver guy because I do that, right? I buy gold when it's low and in an accumulation range. I buy it then, and then I wait years, and then I sell it. So my gold guy is good, and the best price he's ever given me was 2% back off spot. That's the best price I've ever gotten. And once it started to rip gold and silver, he had to back off to 3. So like, if I wanted to liquidate more of my silver and gold right now, I give him a call. I bet he has to back off down to 5 or even 6% off of spot. That's just the way it works. That's why price is the arbiter. It's king on everything. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's not a great time to be trying to buy or sell silver. It's the Sell America trade. I'm sure if you've been watching Bloomberg or CNBC or any business network, I'm sure you've heard that be said multiple times at this point. I've been saying it for about a week now. But, the reason gold and silver are ripping isn't so much about US dollar getting inflated, right? It's about everything. It's about China moving to a wartime economy, not a peacetime economy. That's got the markets on the fritz. China has been buying up gold and silver, and then they've been selling US treasuries for a long time. So it's like China is indirectly trying to destroy America without going to war yet. That's what it looks like they're trying to do. And that's terrible that you would even do that. So it doesn't look good for the future. You back the US up into a corner and you're going to find out. I'm telling you, FAFO. But hey, China, or the CCP at least, seems to be ready for it. They have gotten into their minds that they can beat the US in a fight. Bring it on, big boys. Bring it on. Remember, we have tested your defensive stuff, and Iran has many of your defensive radars and whatnot, and we literally They got bombed at will for like 12 whole days. Like they couldn't even. And that's our fighter jets. That's not even our stealth bombers. Come on. No, I'm hoping Donald Trump can sit down with Xi Jinping and they can work out some kind of deal to where we can go back to a prosperous time when the world powers aren't preparing for war. Hopefully. But China selling treasuries is exactly why we're in the mess. I mean, we're not in the mess because of that. Let's be clear. The US, the politicians are in the mess because they spend like drunken sailors. They spend money they don't have. That's why they're in this mess. The Fed has to keep kicking it down the road. Kicking the can down the road. But yeah, I mean, when a nation starts hoarding things like gold and silver and copper and wheat and, wartime commodities, those commodities are going to skyrocket in value. Absolutely. 100%. But right now, we'll see what this does. I think it's so overbought, it's going to bounce. But we'll see. I mean, it's already stopped out that other trade. Maybe. I was very close to that. Probably did. We can look real quick right here. No, not yet, but it's so close. So close. And Bitcoin's still struggling. Oh, yeah. I think, hey, what's XMR doing? Not XMR, sorry, Hype. Did it get up there? Not quite. It might not need to. That was a gigantic move. So what I would do on this as well is I'd wait for like a breakdown, like a big 4-hour candle, breakdown candle, and then look to jump in on the lower high. If you're looking to sell this, you'd be looking for something like this. Right, a breakdown, then you would be looking for the short in this area, something like that. And same thing here. Don't fall into trying to catch the exact top, because that's what gets a lot of retail traders in trouble. They have to feel like they nailed the exact top. No, your job is not to nail the top. Your job is to make a profitable trade. Regardless if it's the top or in the middle or on the bottom, it's got to be a profitable trade. You could wait for a breakdown retest, and then you could look to jump in at resistance or something like that. Get the lower high. Don't get the high. Like silver, I didn't get in up here. I could have if I wanted to. The line was already on the chart. That's not what I did. Waited today. Let's see first if we can get that lower high. If that happens, then I can put a short on, and that will save me from trying to sell each and every one of these wick highs, and my account will thank me for it later. Yep, let's see here. Read that. Disagree. The issue is core V30 BIP 110 is the solution. I don't know who you're talking about. You must be talking about somebody else, because I honestly believe that too. It's not the 4-year cycle model at all. Gotcha. Pair technicals with fundamental occasionally. Yeah. Matt Crater isn't a developer, just a commentator and influencer. I don't know what he is. What I'm going to do with all these quarters, I know he knows a lot about what's going on, and that's all I said. That's literally all I said. If you want to know about what's going on, he can tell you. Brandon can tell you too. What I'm going to do with all these quarters from the 30s and 40s and 50s, sell them once it backs off of these aggressive highs. It's funny to have quarters worth $20 in metal. Yep. It's funny to have silver 1 ounce coins. I have them by the 20 stacks. Like, I have stacks of 20 that have never been opened, just sitting in my safe. 20 coins in each stack. Stacks of them. Yeah. I got them for like $10, $15, $20. So, yeah, I'm willing to sell them for 100. Absolutely. I'll just wait for them to get back down again and buy more. It will go down. That's the thing. People don't think it will. They think it's just going to go straight moonshot forever for the rest of their life. It's not. That's not going to happen. This volatility will back off. And once the volatility backs off, then I want to be accumulating more. 5% is reasonable. JM and SD bullion are pretty decent in those. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not trying to. I liquidated last year in 2025. Once gold started to break out, I started liquidating because I knew back then that China was hoarding gold. That's literally what caused gold to break out early 2025. So we were long gold all 2025, but as gold was breaking out into fresh highs, I was liquidating. I liquidated silver just shy. I started liquidating some of my silver just shy of that all-time high of, $50 or whatever. So around 47, 48 bucks, I started selling some. Not all of it, just some, just to make room to start the accumulation process all over again. Obviously, I would have made more money if I would have waited, but to be honest, I don't know where it's going to go, right? So if it does go up to stupid prices like 400 or 500, then I have still plenty of bags to sell at those insane prices. Yeah. I start taking profits, right? Same way I do my paper trades. I do the same thing with physical assets, appreciating assets. Same with Bitcoin. This is where me and the silver and gold bugs don't agree. I think Bitcoin has been a far better investment. I mean, far better than gold and silver. I've been holding that gold and silver for years. I am constantly taking Bitcoin profits. I mean, it's crazy. I think Bitcoin should be paired in, like, if you're the kind of person that you want to own like a little bit of everything, all of the appreciating assets, own some stocks, own some risk, like own very little cash right now. Actually, I think you should get out of all your cash right now, but own gold, own silver, own copper, own Bitcoin, own hard assets. Most of the gold and silver people can't wrap their head around Bitcoin because they're stuck in the past. They can't see the future. Once you realize what Bitcoin is, there's a future for it. It is a hard asset. It is. It only goes up over time. They have tried to kill it many times, and they were unsuccessful every time. There's always been massive FUD around Bitcoin, right? It's new. It's a new asset. So, yeah, I think long term, 10, 15 years from now, Bitcoin is worth way more than what it is right now. Especially if the country or all the world keeps devaluing all of their currencies, which is what's happening. What is happening in America is literally happening everywhere. Except for maybe China right now, because they're in a wartime economy. So they're hoarding perishable assets. They're hoarding metal because they're building ships and they're buying food. So that way, if they get attacked by some other force, they can feed their people, right? So they're hoarding perishables right now. One thing I do love about the Chinese economy is that their gold has to, the gold that is sold in jewelry stores across the nation has to be 99.9% carat, 24 karat gold. They can't sell, like here in the US, you go buy gold, it's 14, in some cases 10 karat. Yeah, that's junk, scrap gold. And you're paying a massive premium on it because it's pretty. Yeah, they do it in 24 karat. That way they can take it back and get spot prices for it. If it's 24 karat, you can get spot market value. You just have to prove it's 24 karat. But here in America, if you try to sell 24 karat, they're still only going to give you scrap gold prices. So I wouldn't do that here, but I do like that they do that there. However, it's not a form of freedom either, right? When the government tells businesses what they can and can't do, it's communistic. It isn't freedom. But still, I do like that. So the Chinese citizens can flee with their gold on their person. Hopefully they get to keep it and they don't, something bad don't happen to them while they're fleeing. That's what I love about Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin trumps literally everything about. I'm not talking about what Bitcoin's price is right now on the market, right? Obviously, you can lose a lot of money because Bitcoin is so volatile, but you can also make a lot of money too, right? We've seen it happen now forever since it became a thing. But what I love so much about it is you don't need to strap Bitcoin stuff to you and then leave. You just need to remember your seed phrase. You can remember that. You can go anywhere in the world and carry your wealth with you. You can't beat that. I don't need to have the wealth on me or in my safe or in the trunk of my car. It's in my head. You can't beat that, man. Now we just need the rest of the world to latch on to that. And once that happens, once Bitcoin achieves even a little bit more adoption than where it is currently, right now there's only between 2 and 400 million people that own it. There's 8 billion people in the world. Imagine if half the world's population owned Bitcoin. What do you think Bitcoin's value would be? Now, obviously, that's years off still. Okay, silver bouncing here after taking out that low, and I don't like that. Remember, you're looking at pre-market data. It's the futures data that matters. So basically what you did is you liquidated yesterday's low in the futures market, and you can't get downside continuation. I don't like that. Yet, you might later, but as of right now, it isn't. Oh, you didn't even liquidate yesterday's low, or today's low, sorry, yet. Yeah, you haven't done it yet. I said yesterday's low, I meant today's low. Yeah, you did not do that yet. So that I don't like. I wanted to see a lower low. We still might. It still might. It just hasn't happened yet. I was looking for a nasty move like this. So if this kind of a move doesn't happen, and when I say nasty, I don't mean a 13%. Just give me 2, 3, 4 nice big 15-minute candle expansions lower. That's what I'm looking for. A trend straight down. That takes about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and I can bail. So Bitcoin's retesting the yearly opening again. It looks like it's going to fall. Bartcoin can't get anything going to the upside here. Zcash still not breaking out, so it does look like there is weakness in the crypto market right now. Hype is actually going up to 4-hour res. See, with Bitcoin trading at or even around the year open, it makes it too risky for me to go up there and short those things that are trading on highs, because what if Bitcoin just comes down here and then rips? Then we're going to get stopped out of those other things, right? It's kind of a messy day for trading. Kind of a messy day. I've been stopped out of my long on Bitcoin. So, not holding that. Right now, it's I got on as a near-term short. And it ain't doing anything because Bitcoin is still trading inside yesterday's range. I hate inside days more than anybody. They annoy me to no end. And we're trading in 2 of them. In the middle. It's like, get out of here. Either break down or break up. Just do something. Gold and silver dudes gotta make profits too. Yep, they do. That's what makes the world move. Profits. Yeah. That's why they charge, 3% back of spot or 3% in front of spot, so they can make a small profit. But they work on quantity, not, so they do. He does pretty good for himself. Oh my God, I didn't even know there were that many comments. It just, a lot of them showed up. Where was I just now? Right there, got it. China has been the focal point for a while. Yes, they have. Their refusal to revalue the yuan lower is now resulting in them exporting their deflation. Yep. Macro is in a very nasty scenario. Some of it doesn't look bad, but other bits look terrible. Yeah, it's difficult right now for anybody to accurately predict what's going to happen. I know macro people, I follow a lot of them, and I've got just as many on the bullish side as I do on the bearish side right now. So when most of the people that I follow are this mixed, it's been like this for a little bit now. Back since 2022 when inflation was going bonkers, that's when they thought the whole world was going to fall apart. But it hasn't yet, so that's why I stay more on the optimist side of things, because things typically do work out, especially when it comes to financial markets. So yeah, here it goes. I think what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to just buy this, I think I'm going to allow the expansion to take place, like let Bitcoin reprice up above 89 or something like that, and then look to attack it the next day. Because the next day, what I'd look for is like a small intraday pullback. Look to buy that, and yeah, Bob's your uncle. And then catch the rally. I don't want to be chopped out of a position again today, all day. If it's just going to sit there and chop, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the expansion. When the expansion comes, it's not going to be in just one day. It'll be in a lot of days. We're trying to decide if Bitcoin's going to break down here or not, right? That's what we're trying to dictate. Are we about to see a secondary bearish leg and head down to, 74 or 70K? If we go look at the indicator that shows liquidity, right? Liquidity sets under every single swing low and high. You really don't need to look at this indicator to see where the liquidity is, but it's a good representation of where it is, and sometimes people can just see that better. If we go out to the 6 month here and look under that November low, November 2025, there isn't much liquidity down there, right? There's not a whole lot down there. So if we get a secondary bearish leg, it would have to be from fearful selling. It would have to be fear side liquidations taking place. And obviously that would happen if you start to take out those lows. So that's what we need to see. If we just liquidate November's low and then trade sideways again, that's not going to feel very bearish either. It's kind of just in this large range where it could hypothetically accumulate and then rally out of. So that's what we're trying to see. If we look at long-term hodler's chart, it does look like we are back into accumulation mode here. So it's going up. Now, this doesn't mean that Bitcoin's price will go up, but what this does mean is that we're getting further and further away from that 155-day mark. So you're starting to see your long-term hodlers actually come in and start accumulating again. What we don't want to see is long-term hodlers massively liquidating their portfolios. That's what we don't want to see. If we see this stuff start happening again, then Bitcoin does break down. Most likely. So we have that. And that's kind of working to the good here. And then over here, there is something else. Let me show you this real quick. Well, here's gold and silver, like silver priced to gold. You can see how it came into this trend line. That was like confluence, right? That trend line with that monthly fib extension I showed you earlier. That's why we were looking for a slight pullback here. And then where's that other chart? Where did it go? Oh my goodness. Maybe I didn't post it. Super Mario, if you're in the live stream, no, it's not Blowfin. It's a different exchange called Ubit. It's YUBIT. I'm going to do a little bit of trading on it first before I do any links with it. But as of right now, I do have money on the exchange, so I will trade with it. I got filled on a Fartcoin trade this morning. I didn't like it, so their only thing is you can trade, not right now. You can on their mobile app, but I don't trade on a mobile app. I only trade on my desktop computer. So right now, their internet browser part of the platform doesn't support silver and gold futures trading yet, but their mobile app does. He said that you'll be able to trade futures on gold and silver with crypto next week. Other than that, there really isn't no point in moving from weeks to Ubit unless you specifically want to be able to trade on futures with silver and gold with Tether. Because weeks is it's a great platform to trade on. It gives really good fills, tight entries, not much slippage. This smaller exchange, Ubit, might have some slippage and whatnot. So I want to trade on it a little bit to see if it's even worth like giving a link out, right? If it's good enough to where I don't want my community getting robbed, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want them getting executed on bad fills and stuff like that. I would rather you do that on a larger exchange that has good fills. So just give me a few weeks to mess with it, or at least a week to mess with it. And if it's good, or even if it's halfway decent, I'll drop links in the Discord community. But let me go back up to the Discord real quick. There was something that I posted right here. Now, this is like an indicator, but it's just, I just want you to kind of see what your like where Bitcoin is now compared to what you think is going to happen, right? So like most people are looking for Bitcoin to break down from where it is currently right here, right now. And this is an indicator. Someone took the Stoke RSI and combined it with what you see there. And this is what they've got, right? Now, it's just an indicator. This cross could cross back to the negative if Bitcoin drops down. But you can see how like you are pretty much already in the area where we would anticipate a rally from. If you remember, we were looking for a rally in December, at least up to November's midpoint, and we didn't get that. Now, that could indicate more weakness because it was unable to rally even back up to the midpoint. However, when I look at a lot of other indicators, it's just not like, it's already fallen down a lot, and it's gotten to the point to where most indicators are oversold. So I don't have this, so I can't track it live. I don't know how he did it or whatever, whoever did it. I don't know how they did it, so I can't track this live. But this post was made. Brandon said he saw it circulating the web a few weeks ago. I just seen it today. Like, this guy, that's his logo right there. And today was the first time they posted it. So Maybe Brandon saw something similar to this, but it's unlikely that it was this, right? Because I went back and looked on their Twitter page. They haven't posted this before. So they just posted it today. So it's new data as of today. But anyways, I mean, these oversold areas have come at some pretty opportunistic times in Bitcoin's history, but that does not mean it will do that now. And also something, if you pay attention here, all of these bullish crosses came after Bitcoin came off the lows, not on the lows. Like, we're on the lows here and you're getting that cross. Back in this cycle, you had already come off the lows a significant amount before you got that bullish cross. Same with this cycle. You had already come off those lows a significant amount before you got that cross. And same here. Here you were literally, you got the signal at all-time highs. So I'm not saying take this indicator and then go out there and buy Bitcoin with everything you own because it's going to bounce. No, I'm just showing you it's just another indicator that shows we could be seeing a rally soon. And it fits with everything else that I look at. I'm never going to put all the weight on one specific indicator. There are several things that I'm looking at. The main thing for me will be literally this price. This price, it's just the most easy way to dictate direction. If it's above it, it's bullish. If it's below it, it's bearish. But the chart is weak. It is very weak. If we look at the 4 hour, you can see just losing this was bad. Losing these lows, very bad. Coming lower, even worse, right? It looks really bad. So I don't know if we're going to see any downside continuation from this or not, but it don't look great. You've lost basically anything and everything that would have had us bullish. And the fact that we traded up into this yesterday and rejected, it doesn't look great. But I'll give you one here. Look what you did on Sunday. Now that's because it was a thin liquidity day, so the move was a lot larger than it would have been, say, on a normal day. But look at this. Look at it. When the sellers are in control, boom, boom, boom. So they're not in control today. You could be seeing accumulation take place here. That's all I'm trying. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Like, we could be seeing this area defended. And if it does rally out of here, I would be bullish. If it breaks down, we won't. Simple as that. Central banks are buying gold too. Yes, they are. Absolutely. If China, America will never let another nation own more gold than they do. So if another nation starts buying an ass load of gold, America's going to up their ante as well, because America needs that gold. If anything goes wrong with it being the hegemony, right? They're going to need that gold. So they need to accumulate as well. It wasn't just China. It was what China started doing, started a chain reaction where other central banks started buying. But yeah, America also started moving its gold reserves out of other nations. So I don't know if you're aware of that. They started doing that in 2025. They were flying gold reserves out of Europe back to America. So yeah, they've been paying attention to what's going on over there in the Pacific. Hype is making repairs for longs. It could be a repair, but not quite yet. It got levels above. Hype is dependent on Bitcoin, so yeah, like everything else. Hype is an exchange. Obviously, it's going to be traded on under its own merits, its own kind of pumpamentals, if you will, right? It's a cryptocurrency, but it's an exchange. They make profits by charging trading fees and then they take those profits and rebuy back into their company by purchasing hype tokens. So it's kind of like Apple doing a stock buyback. It's literally what hype is. It's not Apple, it's an exchange, but it's doing a coin buyback. So hype, when things are bullish, is a pretty decent investment. I think Invest Answers, the YouTube channel Invest Answers, did a pretty good breakdown on hype as a company and what they do. And he said his numbers come out to where hype is worth about $60 if they keep doing what they've been doing. So the fundamentals are there for hype to continue to be bullish. This was an extremely big bullish move, so this is a short squeeze. I generally don't want to be shorting assets that are doing short squeezes unless that squeeze is done or starting to at least look done. That's what you run into when you try to short things that aren't done yet, right? They don't work out as good. But we've been in this for a while now, and it's still not rolling over. I don't want to see it get above 110. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bail on that trade. Because if it gets back up into here, it's coming to 113. So we want to see it fail here. But if we look at it in terms of like this candle, it still looks more than okay to hold a short. It's once you get back up to here, that's when stuff has changed. Like that's it. Because you're no longer bearish. There's 2 hours and 7 minutes left on this candle's closure. So you're still below the midpoint of this candle. I wouldn't be getting super bullish on that. But if you're targeting the lows, trying to target to look for higher prices, it may work out for you. The Japanese yen also failing to break down here. So you get this ginormous move that happens during the London session, and then the New York session opens up and nothing happens for literally over an hour. So yeah, this thing might not roll over. Like I said, it is massively oversold on the 8-hour and 4-hour time frames. Massively oversold. So we were anticipating a bounce, but I had to take that trade on the small account because I'm trying to grow it. It's a very small account. I'm trying to grow it. I will grow it. I'm not trying to. It will be bigger by the end of the year, but it's freaking tiny. It's a $100 account. My main account has this position open. Not this position on this, but it has this position open on Swissy. So the main account is doing just fine. It's doing just fine. So I would still be looking for this to hold as long as it doesn't go higher than 155. If you get back above 155, this structure is still bullish. This, where is that weekly 21 at? So you have to close multiple weekly candles, at least 2 under the 21 before we can get heavily bearish on an asset. We can start being bearish once you lose the daily 21, but we know we're early once that happens, right? So I don't want to see it get back up into here. If it does, then it's going to feel more like this was a buying up. So what I'm saying is that news caused a nasty spike lower. But if they don't intervene, like if the BOJ doesn't intervene or the Fed doesn't intervene, then the yen could get sold off again. I think the yen would need to go back up to 160 or even higher up in here before those central banks would start to intervene. Well, I don't know that they would, but that's where they intervened last time. So The structure on this is still bullish, but if they are going to intervene, then maybe we see it's done, right? The bullishness is done. That's why we're starting to look for shorts on it. We're starting to scalp it to the downside now. We've lost the yearly open, so as long as we can hold that, we're going to be looking for shorts. Where's the actual this year's open? I thought that was this year's open. That's 2025. So there you go. There is the 2026. We can get rid of 2025. We don't need it anymore because we're no longer in 2025. This level will be more relevant and more important for future trades or future trade ideas. So if it fails to make lower lows, then tomorrow it may want to take out today's high. It might not take it out today, but it may do it tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. What's Bitcoin doing? Still freaking absolutely nothing. You know the bears are trying to kill this right now. You know they are. The fact that they can't speaks volumes to me. That's why I'm kind of more bullish here than bearish. When the bears run things, the bears get what they want, usually. The fact that they can't get this thing to break down here tells me that the big bears aren't shorting it here. Otherwise, it would break down, right? But it can't get anything going to the upside either. So there's that. There's that also unfortunate scenario. I read that NSS and the DSS have downgraded China as an adversary to an economic competitor and are positioning as deterrence through strength. So US is gonna be kicking them out of the Western Hemisphere. Cuba is next. Well, they're already basically kicked them out of the Western Hemisphere, right? That's the reason we went and got the Venezuela president. It had nothing to do with Venezuela's oil. In fact, a lot of American oil companies don't even want to invest in the Venezuela oil. You have a couple of American companies down there already, and they hate it. So it wasn't for oil. That's just a left-wing politician talking point. It was because Venezuela was selling oil to Russia and China. Trump politely asked him to stop. And of course, Maduro said, I ain't selling them nothing. You have my word. And then we caught a few tankers going to Russia and China. So Trump said, don't do it again. You're not going to like the outcome. They are trying to prepare for war and you are helping them. So you must stop. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem with us. And they didn't stop. So Trump goes down, takes him out of office in one day, I might add. And that's that. We cut him off right at the hip. So that day is literally when Trump said, we are West, you are the East. And let's leave it at that for now, I guess. We'll see what happens. I don't think either nation want a war. I mean, I know I don't want a war because if the U.S. invades China or vice versa, if China invades U.S., that will be a world war. It will not be funny. It will not be like you will notice it. It will have an effect on your individual life if you live in either China or the U.S. It absolutely will. China is a huge competitor to the U.S. right now. Huge. And they're better suited to go into a world war. Like our shipbuilding capacity is nothing compared to what China's is right now. Like they're a lot better than ours. We have stuff better than they do though, right? It's two equally powerful countries and you don't want them fighting because it will wreak havoc everywhere. everywhere. It would be terrible. So hopefully they come to a agreement of some sort that they can get on equal footing. The problem is the US has tried this many times over the past 50 years with China. They keep doing stuff that cheats and steals. They don't compete on the same playing field that the US does. So it makes it impossible to compete, right? And China is not going to stop doing that, obviously, or they would have already if they wanted to play nice with other nations. They don't. They're not interested in playing nice with other nations. They're interested in ruling the world with an iron thumb, is what it looks like. Now, I'm just obviously making my own assumptions here. They seem to be like they want. I mean, there are already like 8 or 10 literally just straight Chinese propaganda channels on YouTube. I found one of them the other day accidentally, and it is straight Chinese propaganda. All of it, every word. Yeah, I know who you are. I can see your picture. I knew you were Brandon. You changed it. That's what threw me off for a split second. You changed it from Crypto Trades and Tech. I was trying to look for your YouTube channel the other day when I posted Bitcoin University's link in my description. I was looking for yours as well, but I'm not sure if you made a video on it. But anyways, I couldn't find your channel because you changed the name of it. That's why I couldn't find it. But I'll get that. I'll get your new channel name uploaded, or at least the link to your channel in that video. Because I'm not going to do any more videos on it. I don't know anything about BIP 110. I'm a technical trader. It doesn't matter to me if Bitcoin goes to 0 or goes to 1 million. Either way, I'm going to get mine. I like Bitcoin to be bullish because it helps other people that aren't traders. The people that invest in Bitcoin long term for their, future. That's why I want Bitcoin to go up. That's why I'm more pro bull than pro bear. When I'm pro bear on something, I'm bearish. Like that's it. That's when I get bearish, I stay bearish for a while. That's why I hope Bitcoin breaks out. I don't want to be short Bitcoin because it'll hurt more people. Long term, people would just make more money when the markets all just go up, right? That's what we want Bitcoin to do. But if it wants to break down, we will sure as hell ride it all the way to 0 if that's where it wants to go. Is it easy to scale out of Bitcoin? For me, it is. And I mean, you can move as much money as you want to move on in most cases. Like I can cash out of weeks like $100,000 a day. So I mean, what kind of scale are you looking at? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Can you scale in and out of Bitcoin? Yeah, I could drop a $10 million trade on most exchanges right now and get filled instantaneously. There's tons of liquidity in Bitcoin. Yeah, you can scale in and out of it easily. Now, as far as cashing out, you got to have an off ramp, right? You got to have an off ramp. You got to be able to get your Bitcoin onto an exchange and then get it into your bank. So that's what keeps a lot of people from doing it. Because if you remember during the Biden administration, they were trying to crack down on that. They were trying to make it impossible for people to do that. My bank never did stop doing it. My bank allowed every single crypto transaction right on through. From Coinbase to the bank. I don't leave anything on Coinbase's exchange, but when I want to, say, for instance, take profits on Bitcoin, I move the Bitcoin over to exchange, hit the sell button, and then withdraw the cash to my bank account. That's the only way you can get your money if you're wanting to convert Bitcoin back to fiat, if that's what you mean. For now, that may change in the future. Somebody might invent a technology to where they're like, yeah, hey, I'll take all your Bitcoins and I'll just give you straight cash at the window for it. You never know. There might be drive-through Bitcoin buildings in the future. Like, just scan my wallet with your wallet and then I'll hand you the cash. Might happen. It's possible. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I'm sure there's rules against that right now, but eventually in the future, I imagine it would be just as easy as 1, 2, 3. What would be better is if every store, literally every single store, that's any store that sells anything, if they would accept Bitcoin, game, set, match. It's over at that point. Because once everybody will accept Bitcoin as payment, Bitcoin has won. Bitcoin has won. Because the only reason you even need cash is to pay bills, right? Well, imagine if your bills that you have to pay would accept Bitcoin. You would no longer need cash. I don't see any government allowing that to happen. That's the hurdles that Bitcoin will have to get above in order to become mass adopted. There are some places, a lot of places that will accept Bitcoin. There are still way too many that won't. Fiat is just a tool. It really has no value other than wherever you're spending it, the government has decided to allow that to happen, right? You can't take a gold bar into the grocery store and exchange it for bread, milk, grains, rice, beans, meat. No, it's got to be cash or check. Not even check anymore. It's got to be cash or card. So gold is just as useless as Bitcoin in that scenario. Some places will allow you to have a gold card, but you can do that with Bitcoin now. Also, yeah, Bitcoin's come a long ways in 15 years. A long way. I have no problems converting it to cash. I'll just leave it at that. But my situation might be different than yours. I don't know. Core versions aren't consensus and soft fork doesn't. Oh, maybe that's what you were talking about. Yeah, you two were talking to each other. Okay, I got that. How much percentage of your stash of silver did you sell? About 20%. About 20%, I'd say. Maybe a little more. I'd have to look at the numbers in the safe, but I'm pretty sure it's close to 20, 30, something like that. Yep, I had to make some room. But I think what I'm going to do is just go straight with gold. Because honestly, silver is used in a lot of things that, like, if we're trying to move towards a more technical future, silver is going to be required to make physical goods. So silver will never, in my opinion, be as expensive as gold. So like if your hopes of owning silver is that one day it's worth $5,000 a coin or per ounce, the only way I ever see that happening, gold will be worth like $50,000 an ounce. And it will cost you $50 to buy a gallon of milk, right? Like that's the only way that ever happens, is super inflation. So I think you'd be better off just owning gold, as it takes up way less room. It's way more valuable as in per weight, right? The 1 ounce of gold is worth what 10 pounds of silver almost is worth. Yeah. So I don't know if it's legal because I'm not a billionaire that's making cars that require a lot of silver. But if I were, right, if I was, say, had $500 billion at my disposal, then I would short the absolute bejesus out of silver at these prices, especially if I needed to be able to compete with other companies that sell the same kind of thing, right? Because I can't afford to sell my products at the same price if I have to use a lot of silver to make that product. So that's where you will run into issues on silver being super expensive in the future. Everybody that relies on silver to be a physical product that they sell, they'll short silver as it helps their business long term. If they can't short silver, because it's super risky to do so, but if they can't, then they have to up the price of whatever they're making. So like if silver stays at $100 an ounce or higher for a long time, you as a consumer will start to feel that, because what used to be like, say, 50 grand for a Tesla car with as much silver that's in it. I don't know. I am doing a lot of generalities and assuming a lot and also making it way bigger than it is, right? But I'm trying to make you see that silver can't stay elevated. Gold can. Gold it's used a lot less in the general economics of a country. Silver has a lot of use cases, so that makes it a fundamental commodity. It's in a lot of stuff. It's in a lot of tech. So I don't ever see silver, like silver is going to be like a very expensive copper, right? Why isn't copper $8,000 an ounce? It's actually $5 a pound. It's because it's used in a lot of, infrastructure. So silver is like almost in too much infrastructure to be a scarce commodity, if you will. So I think long term, you're better off just buying gold if you're just doing it for investment purposes. If you actually use silver for something, that's different. But if you're just doing it to make money, you should do it with gold and Bitcoin. I myself think Bitcoin is better than gold because, well, in the same amount of time, Bitcoin's went up 21,000%, gold's went up 300%. Oh, obviously, Bitcoin is a lot more volatile. That is why you can make a lot more money. But you can also lose that investment just as easy, right? Because it is super volatile. But it is, in my opinion, a better investment long term. Maybe not at this price. Maybe Bitcoin wants to go lower. I don't know. But I would love it if it didn't. I would love it if it built a multi-month range right here. Because that would tell me, hey, the lows are probably in. If Bitcoin's going to go lower, it's going to do it soon. This month, next month, or the month after that. Bitcoin is so volatile that I doubt it ever has a 10-month period where it just chops sideways. You know what I mean? Gold does that all the time. Like Bitcoin's candles trend, bro. They always, you most always get a trending move on Bitcoin, whether it's down or up. It doesn't matter. It's because it's volatile. So that's what makes it a good investment. It's volatility. Okay, so if you look at gold on Oanda, because look at this right here, like this whole period right here, right? Like, damn, that's 1,100 to 1,400. That's a $300 range that it stayed in from 2013 to damn near 2020. This will happen again on gold. So Bitcoin is a better investment because of its volatility, because it trends all the time. Even here, you had a period of time where gold, like if you just put this line here and this line here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, you traded in between these yellow lines for 8 months. Then you broke down for 2 months, then you broke back up, and then you spent another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months again in the same range. Bitcoin doesn't do that yet. That's what makes Bitcoin a better investment. But also, when it does this, you're going to feel it a lot worse. If you don't have the stomach for Bitcoin, then it ain't for you. Bitcoin is for people that have a very high risk tolerance, right? Like they like it. They love the risk. They love the fact that it trends all the time. That's why I love it as a trader. That's what makes Bitcoin amazing. Right here, you got 4 months of sideways and then 2 months of trend. 2 months of sideways, 4 months of trend. Back in the range, 1 month, you're out of the range. 5 months of sideways, 5 months of trend. Like Bitcoin very seldom, right here's the longest time that it ever spent in a long-term range. And once it broke down, you didn't get some, that should have been the end for Bitcoin back then. It wasn't. It wasn't. In fact, 5 months later, it was right back above this range. Yeah, it's a volatile asset. It moves a lot. The more and more people that invest in Bitcoin, though, it will start to trend more. So Bitcoin needs to break out, whether it's above December's high or November's low, right? It's got to break this range one way or the other. It can spend maybe 2 more months in here, but that'll be the end of it. It's going to break down or up. It's just too volatile for now. The reason I think it's going to break up, and the reason everybody else thinks it's going to break up, is because Michael Saylor owns $57 billion worth of it right now. And you have other big, rich dudes buying into it right now. Like you literally, Michael Saylor said he went and spoke to 10 banks in 2025. And out of those 10 banks, and they're the 10 biggest banks in the country, 8 of them are getting on the Bitcoin train. When do you think banks are going to get in? They're going to get in on the lows, not the highs. So even if Bitcoin breaks down, it's going to be a buying opportunity. Bitcoin is here to stay as long as the internet is here to stay and as long as the soft fork don't break it. So there are risks, lots of risks. But it's a fantastic investment. It's not new. I don't know what you're talking about there. I didn't see what you said before that. I think Bitcoin is going to bounce here big. If it does, it's been in a downtrend for a while. It's been in a downtrend since November. November, it broke down out of the range. So you had a 4-month range up here, and November was the breakdown month. Since November, you've been trading inside November's range. So we can literally delete every one of these drawings on this chart and just mark this right here and this right here. As long as you're trading in between 85.24 and 111.221, you're inside of November's range. You know what I mean? It's inside this range. So this is the range to beat. It does look like it's trying to beat it to the downside. And you did break down. You just haven't made that lower low yet, but you have broken down. If I put this on the daily, it has broken down. So we're kind of in this go, no-go zone, if you will. So let me make sure I got November's low there, and then December's low there. Got it. So yeah, we've broken down. So right here's December's low. This is the second nasty place to lose, because once you lose this, you've broken down out of December's range, and that's more bearish than bullish, right? So as long as you're above the yearly open, you're fine. You break below the yearly open, you're coming back down to here next, potentially. That's not a good thing. But we do want to see Bitcoin make a higher low here and start to trend back to the upside. Hopefully this will just, in the grand scheme of things, right? Like in the longer term, hopefully this ends up just being one big bear trap. I kind of drew that wrong. Let's go like this. Hopefully all of this just comes one big bear trap and Bitcoin breaks out. And it starts to head back in that direction. And to be honest with you, it kind of feels like that's what's going to happen. Because like I stated earlier, Bitcoin doesn't spend a lot of time inside ranges like this because it is so volatile. So then you have to put two and two together. Well, if it isn't breaking down, why isn't it? Right? That answer will lead you to, well, somebody's buying it. In a bear market, you will break down and continue to do so until the macro environment changes to stop that bear market from happening. So in the pandemic, when everything started to cut loose and start ripping to the downside, it was because the pandemic was sweeping over the world, remember? What stopped it was the macro. The Fed came in one weekend and said, hey, we're going to drop interest rates to nil, to zero, ZERP. And on top of that, we're going to buy bonds. That ended the bear market. So what's concerning for us Bitcoiners right now is we know that big money knows that Michael Saylor is stuck. That's concerning, as if they are able to get a hold of the product and sell it off, Michael Saylor will get squeezed and then end up having to sell as well. Whether he wants to or not, his board has already publicly said, MicroStrategy board has already publicly said that if they get in a scenario like that, they will sell Bitcoin. They have an obligation to their shareholders. So yeah, that can happen. That can cause a debt spiral where Saylor or Strategy has to keep issuing debt, selling shares, but the companies, instead of taking money, they'll take the shares, they'll sell the shares on the open market. They can control Bitcoin's price better through shorting MicroStrategy than they can through shorting Bitcoin. You see what I'm saying? That is the downside risk that we have staring us in the face right now. That's uncertainty. They can literally just sell MicroStrategy. They don't have to sell Bitcoin. They can buy Bitcoin, but sell MicroStrategy. And they can wreck this whole thing because Michael Saylor owns $57 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Lots of Bitcoin. That would cause a nasty liquidation. It would be no different than what happened when FTX went out of business, when Celsius went out of business, right? Those two big exchanges. Or when Mt. Gox went out of business. It'll be like the same thing. MicroStrategy will be going out of business. So they will have to liquidate. So that's where the problem is. Now, if he can get more bankers on his side than the bankers that are against him, you see what I'm saying? Then he can steer the ship. But Michael Saylor ain't done by a long shot. If he can convince people to go the same route he's gone, that it will work, then they can squeeze the people that's trying to squeeze him. And that would also pay off. So either way it goes, we're going to make money here because we have a fantastic opportunity, right? Because Michael Saylor has given it to us. It's amazing. I can't wait. And it's about to play out in the next couple months, tops. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it's to the upside, as that would help Bitcoin. Excuse me. Damn. Like I just swallowed something. That would help Bitcoin's cause long term if it goes up, right? If it breaks out to the upside, it's going to be better off. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm all right. Hopefully they don't squeeze him, man. I hope he can get more people on his side and we can squeeze them. There's nothing better than putting the screws to people like Larry Fink and whoever else is against him. I don't know if it is Larry Fink that's against him. It seems like it is. But we'll see, right? I would much rather put the screws to the big banks than I would put the screws to Michael Saylor. Because Michael Saylor, I have nothing but utmost respect for him. He did what any good businessman would do. He was facing down the destruction of his company because of his competitors, Google and everybody else. So he had to make a business decision to save his business. So he decided to join the Bitcoin bandwagon after he did a little bit of research on it. I applaud that. I think it's a very respectful thing to do. And in the process of doing that, he did make a lot of money. So his kids will never have to work again, regardless of what happens to Bitcoin. He's already made a lot of money off of this. You know what I mean? So, but hopefully he loves Bitcoin and sees the potential for Bitcoin's future. So he wants to keep that train rolling for his kids, so they can protect their savings and stuff, because he sees the problem with the government. Everybody does. Every investor knows the government has a spending problem. So yeah, hopefully we can squeeze the squeezers, and that'll be fun. It'll be just like what happened to Tesla back, oh shit, when was it? 2019, I think. So many people. Yeah, 2019. It was so amazing. So many people were short Tesla. Back here in this range, Tesla was trading at 260 in the highs and like 110 on the lows. It was about $150 range that we were working in back then. And there were people going on CNBC, Bloomberg, all the talking heads that were just short Tesla. It's a car company that's trading for multiples above what a car company should. These are what I call boomer thoughts. They can't get their old horse and buggy minds around the computer. They don't understand it. My father never laid his hands on a keyboard before, ever. Never will, till the day he dies. These are the people, my father and his generation, are the people running this country into the ground right now. My Discord has a lot of people that are my age in it, and we all agree 100%. The 90s was the best time to be alive, because we got to watch this massive shift in technology, and we also had great music. We had a lot of cool shit back then, right? The 90s are awesome. They were awesome. Yeah. Hopefully we get the same thing that happened here to the Tesla shorts. We get the same thing that silver is right now doing, but it happens to Bitcoin. I mean, Tesla went up a lot. Once those shorts start getting squeezed, they got to exit. I don't think silver's got much more in it because silver is a massive market cap, right? Because it's got so many applications. I don't ever see it going parabolic the way Tesla did, but Bitcoin can. I think we would do better squeezing Bitcoin shorts than we will ever do squeezing gold and silver shorts. It's literally the perfect asset for it. Very small market cap. We're going to squeeze them good, boys. We're going to squeeze them good. They're going to forget or wish they would have gotten their heads around Bitcoin and what it truly was capable of and get off the whole horse and buggy technology. That's in the past. We're going to the future with or without you. And Bitcoin's the way. It's the way because it's a small market cap. It's the way because of what it can be. We just got to get core devs to understand that Bitcoin is hard money, not cat memes. Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap it up. Bitcoin is bouncing. We got kind of what we wanted. It's without me, obviously. I didn't want to get chopped up at the yearly open. I got chopped up there yesterday, and I got chopped up there again today. So I'm not gonna get chopped up there all day. I'm gonna let it rally. Hopefully Bitcoin breaks above Sunday's high today. If Bitcoin doesn't break above Sunday's high today, then it still hasn't done nothing. It still hasn't done shit. It's got to do that for me to get bullish again. If it can do that, give me 1 second here. I gotta put the year open back on there. If it can do that, if it can start trading above Sunday's high, then I can be a buyer tomorrow or Thursday. Okay? So you guys won't hear from me again until Thursday. Obviously, I'm live every day for the Discord members, but so Thursday I'll be back. So Thursday, if we're trading above Sunday's high, we're going to be looking for longs. If it doesn't do that today, then you could probably look for shorts. Because this little rally that it's done today is really not much of anything yet. So yesterday we got higher than where we are now. But I like what it's doing. It does look like it's being accumulated. That's got to come first. I honestly thought it was already being accumulated and we were going to see higher highs and higher lows all the way back to the all-time high again. Because we've already had the bear market. The macro doesn't support a long-term extended bear market on Bitcoin. The 4-year cycle model is not a good enough reason for Bitcoin to get down to 30K. You need to see something massive shift for that to take place. In 2022, you had rising inflation, skyrocketing inflation. That's what took Bitcoin down here. First, it was Celsius. They went, that started a nasty liquidation. Then it chopped sideways and broke down again. FTX went here. That's what caused all of this. You need that to get these huge sell-offs. If you don't have that, i.e., if the civil war that's going on between BIP 110 and Core, if that doesn't do it, and Sailor doesn't get squeezed, Bitcoin isn't going to 30K. It's going up. It's as simple as that. What's about to happen is going to be good for risk assets. It's going to cause inflation. Bitcoin does good right before the inflation. It does bad during the inflation, right? So, but before that, we got a big bullish move in 2023 and 2024. You didn't get that continuation into 2025. 2025 was a very choppy year for Bitcoin. The whole year. It really didn't do anything all year long. So here's December 2025's open. It was a choppy year. It made a couple fresh yearly lows, and then it made a couple fresh yearly highs, and that was it. Right back down. So, yeah, for that to continue, we need either Saylor to get his butt squeezed or the Civil War actually works to a negative or something like that. But if Saylor isn't lying and big banks are accumulating, they are doing it now. They're not going to wait for 30K. They're going to do it now because Bitcoin has pulled back. It's broken down. It's cheaper now than it was in almost anywhere in 2025. There was only 2 months where it was cheaper than where it is now. So they're going to get in where it is now. So price will tell us what's going on. The macro will kind of help for the tailwinds. There are huge tailwinds for Bitcoin right now. A lot more tailwinds than there are headwinds, in my opinion. But I'm not a macro analyst. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think Bitcoin's going up. We'll see. You can simplify your analysis by simply saying if it's up on the year, if it's above 87.5, you can be bullish. If it's below that, you got to be careful, right? Because it could break down and start that squeezing, and we don't want that. But as far as that goes, I'm pretty good with buying it above 89 or 87, and I'm okay selling it below it, right? That's what we're gonna do. But yeah, if we take out Sunday's high, we're gonna be pretty bullish going into the end of the week, going into next week as well. So let's hope that happens today. If it stays inside the range, I'll probably be more bearish, but we'll see. Let me just blast through these comments real quick, make sure there isn't nothing important. Micro Saylor, I like it. Yeah, my words get a little bit mixed up when I start rambling. Back in Jan 2022, Bitcoin spent 13 weeks in a range. Yeah, 13 weeks is what, 4 months? About, roughly. Yeah, that's about as long as it does, right? This range right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 months here, it stayed in a range. If this happens to Bitcoin, I'd be bearish at least for one more leg lower. That's if it happens. If it happens. I don't think that is going to happen. I think you're going to see this thing break out. If it can hold the yearly opening range for much longer, people will buy it because it's up. And think about this also, even though silver isn't rolling over today, eventually it will, and gold will too. And those big money investors are going to want to rotate those capitals, those profits into something that isn't currently overbought. The S&P currently overbought. Like literally I can make the case right now for Bitcoin being the best investment in 2026 based on the tailwinds, right? Based on everything where it currently is. It's just a good investment as long as it's not breaking down. As long as you're not squeezing Saylor, Bitcoin is a good investment where it is currently. So we'll leave it at that. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.